morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everybody's having a great week. For you guys, this will be for Saturday. It is Saturday about 11:48 in the morning my time. And a lot has transpired since the NBA draft just happened. Vic going number 1. You have Brandon Miller going number 2. And the guy that you guys are seeing on screen, Mr. Scoot Henderson, going number 3, which is the main discussion that we're going to be talking about is the Portland Trailblazers, and that I believe Damian Lillard will be traded this offseason. He's going to be making about $45 million this year, and in roughly 2 more years, he's going to be making $60 million. Recently, Damian Lillard has posted on IG, or went live on IG more of, and he's playing a song, Miami, by Will Smith in the background, hinting that, hey, if you want to trade me, possibly trade me to Miami. And there's a lot of good young players on that team they could possibly get that have a big contract. Some are bloated in some people's eyes, that being Duncan Robinson, making $25 million a year. $20 to $25 million a year is a pretty hefty contract. And that'd be part of the package that they would probably receive along with picks. They might do a sign and trade with either Gabe Vincent or Max Strus, but those are 2 guards. In my opinion, I am trying my absolute best as a Portland Trailblazer GM to try to get Bam Adebayo in turn, but I know Miami's not going to want that kind of deal because they want to have Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, and Dame on the same team. But if you can somehow get Bam Adebayo, you are set for the future. You already have the future right now. And then on the picture, Scoot Henderson at your point guard. You have Anthony Simons at shooting guard, Shaden Sharp at small forward, and a lot of different opportunities at the power forward position. Matisse Thybulle, Kevin Knox, Cam Reddish, that you could mix and match to have them be the power forward position, because today's game is a little bit of a smaller lineups at the small forward position, either 5'5" to 6, or about 6'4" to 6'7". Most of them are about 6'5", and it would put a lot of smallness at the power forward position, but you have that opportunity to do so. But if they could somehow get Bam Adebayo, they can put him at the 5, try and resign Jeremy Grant, have him at the 4. That would pay huge dividends, and let the small forward position battle it out with Shaden Sharp, which I think is going to be the starter for the small forward position for the Portland Trailblazers. And then the others being Kevin Knox, Cam Reddish, and Matisse Thybulle, let them come off the bench and have a different type of lineup with all 3 of those. Great defender in Matisse Thybulle. Cam Reddish is a great finisher. Kevin Knox has a little bit of everything, nothing too crazy. But I think it's time just to move on from Damian Lillard. There are a lot of teams that could possibly try and trade for Damian Lillard. Unfortunately for the Boston Celtics, that Kristaps Porzingis trade, I think, pretty much wavered away from the fact that they are going to try to get a player like Damian Lillard. What they could do is do a sign-in trade with Jaylen Brown, and then have him make that max contract that they were talking about, 5-year, $300 million. Was it, or 6? I think it's 6-year, $500 million, which is $30 million a year, and then go and do another sign-in trade with maybe Peyton Pritchard, and they could get themselves a Damian Lillard. And then you have a solidified power forward in Jaylen Brown. I don't like him at the power forward position, but the opportunity to have him on that team in general would be huge. And then you could have Shaden Sharp at small forward, Jaylen Brown at the power forward. You have Jusuf Nurkic still under contract for the next 3 years. You have him at center. And then, of course, the gentleman on the screen, Scoot Henderson, and Anthony Simons at shooting guard. The future is now, and I am hoping for the sake for the Portland Trailblazers that it's time to move on. I know Damian Lillard for the past 12 years has been this future of this franchise. He has continuously been clutch for them, has put up astronomical numbers in the playoffs, has put his effort, has put his team on his back so often. An example being the Houston Rockets game against James Harden and Dwight Howard, hitting that clutch three, and people flipped out over that three-pointer. He hit a clutch three over Paul George and the Oklahoma City Thunder, finishing up that series. He's put up 50 points, 60 points against the Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. Unfortunately, his team in general was just not ready at that time, and it's just time for them to move on because they got rid of CJ McCollum a couple years ago. That backcourt was inevitably going to fall, and it was not going to be no longer a thing. They went and got Anfernee Simons in the draft. Great young guard in more other respects. I like him at shooting guard more than the point guard, and now they got Scoot Henderson at point guard. I believe it's time to move on from Dame. The time that with him and LaMarcus Aldridge you had, then CJ McCollum with Damian Lillard. Eventually he will retire as a Portland Trailblazer. I think he'll do like a one-day contract like they usually do when they're going to retire, like a lot of players do. And I don't believe he is technically going to be a Hall of Famer, a first ballot Hall of Famer. By golly, he will be a Hall of Famer probably, but is this going to be a couple years after he retires? It might be it might be a decade before he gets into the Hall of Fame. But he's definitely not first ballot. But I believe the amount of points that the amount of clutchness that he has brought, what he's done for this franchise, that he could possibly make it into the Hall of Fame. But he will make he probably will have his jersey retired up in the rafters. LaMarcus Aldridge won't, CJ McCollum won't, but he will because he has been this franchise. But the future is now, and I don't believe this year they'll make the playoffs. Even if they kept Damian, I don't believe they make the playoffs, but it would be best if they were just to let Damian go, let these young guys build chemistry together, work together another year from now, give themselves a bona fide center that is young with this squad. Yusuf Nurkic is a great center that could help a contending team, but he's just been so injury prone. It's time to move on from him too. Give themselves a power forward for the future, and then just continue to build some chemistry, and you can have a great core together because you guys already screwed up the opportunity to have Damian have a great team. You try to trade and get Jay McGrann to be part of this group, but now Damian Lillard's injury prone. So it's time for us to move on and have this young man that's on the screen be the future of this franchise. In the next video, we will be starting from the bottom, or technically the top of the NBA draft, that being the San Antonio Spurs, and we'll be talking about the future of that franchise in the next video on Sunday. With all this being said, guys, I'm in this video right here, and I'll talk to you guys later.